호모 데우스 유발 노아 하라리 The biological poverty line. Let's start with famine, which for thousands of years has been humanity's worst enemy. Until recently, most humans lived on the very edge of the biological poverty line, below which people succumb to malnutrition and hunger. A small mistake or a bit bad luck could easily be a death sentence for an entire family or village. If heavy rains destroyed your wheat crop or robbers carried off your goat herd, you and your loved ones may well have starved to death. Misfortune or stupidity on the collective level resulted in mass famines. When severe drought hit ancient Egypt or medieval India, it was not uncommon that 5 or 10% of the population perished. Provisions became scarce. Transport was too slow and expensive to import sufficient food, and government were far too weak to save the day. Open any history book and you are likely to come across horrific accounts of famished population, driven mad by hunger. In April 1694, a French official in the town of Babel describes the impact of famine and the soaring food price, saying that his entire district was now filled with an infinite number of poor souls, weak from hunger and wretchedness, and dying from want, because having no work or occasion, they lacked the money to buy bread. Seeking to prolong their lives a little, and some far to appease their hunger, their poor folk eat such unclean things as cat and the flesh of horse played, and cast one to dung heaps. Others consume the blood and plows when cows and oxen are slaughtered, and the offal that cooks throw into the streets. Other poor wretched eat nettles and weeds on roots and herbs which they boil in water. Similar things took place all over France. Bad weather had ruined the harvest throughout the kingdom in the previous 2 years, so that by the spring of 1694 the granaries were completely empty. The rich charged exorbitant price of whatever food they managed to hold. The poor died in droves. About 2.8 million French, 50% of the population, starved in death between 1692 and 1694, while the Sun King Louis XIV, dealing with his mistress in Versailles. The following year, 1695, famine struck Estonia, killing a fifth of the population. In 1696, it was the turn of Finland. There was a quarter to a third of people died. Scotland suffered from severe famine between 1695 and 1698, some districts losing up to 20% of their inhabitants. Most readers probably know how it feels when you miss lunch, when you fast on some religious holiday, or when you live for a few days on vegetable shakes as part of a new wonder diet. But how does it feel when you haven't eaten 4 days on end and you have no clue where to get the next morsel of food? Most people today have never experienced this excruciating torment. Our ancestors know it only too well. When they cried to God, "Deliver us from famine," this is what they had in mind. During the last 100 years, technologically, economic, and political development have created an increasingly robust safety net separating humankind from the biological poverty line. Mass famines still strike some areas from time to time, but they are exceptional, and they are almost always caused by human politics rather than by natural catastrophe. There are no longer natural famines in the world. There are only political famines. If people in Syria, Sudan, or Somalia starve to death, it's because some political want them to. In most parts of the planet, even if a person has lost his job and all of his possession, he is unlikely to die from hunger. Private insurance scheme, government agencies, and international NGOs may not rescue him from poverty, but they will provide him with enough daily calories to survive. On the collective level, the global trade network turned drought and flood into business opportunity and make it possible to overcome food shortage quickly and cheaply. Even when wars, earthquakes, tsunami devastate entire countries, international efforts usually succeed in preventing famine. Though hundreds of millions still go hungry almost every day, in most countries, very few people actually starve to death. Poverty certainly caused many other health problems, and malnutrition shortened life expectancy even in the richest countries on earth. In France, for example, 6 billion people, about 10% of the population, suffer from nutritional insecurity. They wake up in the morning not knowing whether they will have anything to eat for lunch. They often go to sleep hungry, and the nutrition they do obtain is unbalanced and unhealthy. Lots of starch, sugar, and salt, and not enough protein and vitamin. And nutritional insecurity isn't famine. And France of the early 21st century isn't France of 1694. Even in the worst slum around Beauvais or Paris, people don't die because they have not eaten for weeks on end. The same transformation has occurred in numerous other countries, most notably China. For millennia, famine stalked every Chinese regime from the Yellow Emperor to the Red Communist. A few decades ago, China was a byword for food shortage. Tens of millions of Chinese starved to death during the disastrous Great Leap Forward, and experts routinely predict that the problem would only get worse. In 1976, the first World Food Conference was convened in Rome, and delegates were treated to apocalyptic scenarios. They were told that there was no way for China to feed its billion people, and that the world's most populous country was heading toward catastrophe. In fact, it was heading towards the greatest economic miracle in history. Since 1974, hundreds of millions of Chinese have been ripped out of poverty, and though hundreds of millions more still suffer greatly from privation and malnutrition, for the first time in its recorded history, China is now free from famine. Indeed, in most countries today, overeating has become a far worse problem than famine. In the 18th century, Marie Antoinette allegedly advised the starving masses that if they ran out of bread, they should just eat cake instead. Today, the poor followed this advice to the letter, whereas the rich residents of Beverly Hills with lettuce salad and steamed tofu with quinoa. In the slums and ghettos, the poor goes on twinkle cakes, Cheetos, hamburgers, and pizza. In 2014, more than 2.1 billion people were overweight, compared to 850 million who suffered from malnutrition. Half of mankind is expected to be overweight by 2030. In 2010, famine and malnutrition combined killed about 1 billion people, whereas obesity killed 3 billion. Okay.